All right, welcome to today's live stream. So, we are here and ready to get going, and I hope that you all have had an incredible week to start things off and that you are ready to do some learning. I'm looking over here at my notes to make sure I don't miss anything. I want to take this opportunity to let you know that if you happen to be with me live, make sure to say hello. You can also let me know where it is that you are watching from. And if you are, in fact, on the replay, hello to you as well. For those of you that don't currently know me, my name is Rhonda M. Jordan. And what I do is I focus on teaching individuals that are 45 years of age and older how to build an online business, specifically focusing in on teaching you how to grow an audience from scratch, teaching you how to build an email list, also teaching you how to create and sell digital products, and then finally affiliate marketing. So if any of those things are of interest to you, you are definitely in the right place. And I always encourage people that are in fact on, make sure that you have something to write with, something to take notes with. Now, of course, you'll be able to always watch the replay, but you may in fact have some information that you gain from this that you want to write down and have available to you at a point in the future, specifically when you are implementing what you learn. And that's what I focus on for each one of my things. Hello, Denise. Welcome to you. I always appreciate you being here with me. But one of the things that I think is important is that once you learn information, that you implement. And the faster you implement, the faster you're going to start seeing results. And I think that's important specifically with this topic because I don't see it talked about enough throughout the internet world, if you will. So make sure that you do, in fact. Hey, Yolanda, it's good to see you on as well. I always appreciate you all jumping in and saying hello. I know for a fact that this type of information is going to help you. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and get into the topic. And you all know if you've been on any of my lives, I always have notes. And what I'm going to be sharing with you, I believe, it's either 5 or 7 things, maybe a few more than that, that you can incorporate in your link in bio. Now, for those of you that might be new to online marketing, let me first of all explain to you what the link in bio actually refers to. And essentially, on pretty much any social media platform, and that's also going to be true on YouTube. I don't really consider that to be a social media platform, or LinkedIn, Threads, Facebook, Instagram, all of the things that are out there, even TikTok. There's going to be a place for you to put a hyperlink, okay, that allows people to click on it and go somewhere else. Now, here's a couple of things that I see happen. Either one, that link is actually non existent, and I'm just shocked at the number of people that don't use it. Or the second thing that sometimes happens is people don't use it effectively, and they're sending people, and I'll get into this as I go through the training. But they're sending people like someplace that's not going to allow them to ultimately use that link to increase their income. And that's what this whole live stream is all about. It's effectively using a link that's going to ultimately result in you earning income. Now, it may not happen right away. And depending on where you're sending people, that place may not be the best place to send them to generate income. So we're going to talk about that. But before we get into that, the first thing I want to do is ask you, when was the last time you checked your link that you included in your bio? Just drop that in. Hey, Ashioma, I see you there as well. Thank you for being on. And Bella Vita, it's great to have you. Good morning to you as well. So just let me know, when was the last time you actually checked that link? Because what tends to happen with a lot of us is we create the bio when we first set up our profile on a specific platform, and we drop something in there, and then we don't check it on a regular basis. And I'm going to give you a hint. You really should be updating this link more regularly than you probably are. All right, so just drop that in. Remember, there's a few seconds of a delay. And then the other thing that I want to share with you is that a lot of times when people do drop a link in, they're sending it. Hey, Josie. Okay, now I get it. Okay, now well, welcome to you. I'm so happy that you're here. But when people click on that link, oftentimes the link that's included in Link to Bio, it's going to some place that is not really going to help you, if you will. And let me give you some examples of places that I've seen people send folks to. And when I'm talking to you, I'm talking about myself as well. So don't feel like you're being singled out. I've made a lot of these mistakes as well. But the first place I see people sending folks is, for example, to a blog, just a generic blog that they have. They're not directing them to a specific post on the blog. They may be sending them to a website. So maybe you have your own personal website. This was my mistake. And I was sending them to my home page. Well, the home page can work if, in fact, it is actionable, if you will. But a better place, or let me give you a few other places that I've seen people send folks. I've seen people use that link to send folks to another social media platform. So let me give you an example. That link is on Instagram, and then they'll use the link to say, follow me on Threads, or follow me on Facebook, or follow me on TikTok. Well, that could work. If in fact, once they get to that place, they're actually going to find something that can, again, I'm focusing on teaching you how to increase your income. But in most cases, that's not going to work, because what you're doing is you're just sending people in an infinite loop. I mean, they're just going around and around. They're going from Facebook to Instagram, or Facebook to LinkedIn, or Instagram. You don't want to do that, because that's not the most effective place for you to actually send people. And so what I want to focus on are some places that you can send, links you can create and send people to, so you can start to get results. Now, remember, some of the places that I'm going to share with you are not going to give you immediate results, okay? And again, I can never guarantee that any of them are going to give you results, but I can tell you they're going to put you in a much better position than you may be right now. All right, so the first thing that I want to do, give me 1 second to just take a look at, I've already talked about that, sending people to places that just don't convert. And that's what this is all about, is getting people to a place that's going to actually convert. So now I also want to make sure that when you send people wherever it is that they're going to be sent, it should be very clear what should happen next, which means it's going to go through a process that's going to educate folks and get them to do something. So I want you to remember, confused people are not going to buy. So let me just jump right into some of the places that you can send folks, and then I'm going to come back and fill in some of the gaps based upon the notes that I've created. And I apologize, but it's like my brain wants to get to the content so that you all can share this, and then I'll come back and actually fill everything in. So one of the first places that you can send people that will help you out is to your lead magnet landing page. So instead of the link in bio being rhondamjordan.com/about, I would send them to a link that takes them right to one of my lead magnets or landing pages. And that's what I'm going to encourage you to do. One of these. I'm not saying you have to do this one, because you may not yet have a lead magnet that's set up or a landing page that's set up for them. Now, for those of you that may not be familiar with a landing page, what is it? It's nothing more than a place where people can find out about your lead magnet, and essentially what they have are just a couple of options. They can either fill in their information, meaning their first name and their email address, and hit submit, or they can click the button to actually leave that page. That's all they can do, okay? Now, one of the reasons why using your landing page as a place for your link in bio is going to be helpful is pretty obvious. It's going to help you grow your email list. And remember, in time, you're actually going to do a lot of your selling of your digital products through your email list. So that is a great place to actually send folks. So again, whatever your landing page is, that link, that URL is what you're going to drop in. And then, as you are creating content on that specific platform, you can then make reference to the page that or the URL that you have. So, let's say, for example, you actually, I don't know, you teach dogs how to house train. Let's go with that. Let's say that you share a lot of content on puppy training or housebreaking dogs. And so you've put together a guide, a 5-page guide to help new pet owners learn how to actually housebreak their puppy. So that link is what you're going to have in the link in bio. All of your content is going to give things like tips, strategies. It's going to share things about you, why you're knowledgeable about this topic, and so forth. And your call to action in many of those pieces is going to be, hey, if you want to grab my guide, I have a link in the bio. And you can point up or however you want to do it. But just let people know, because you can't assume when folks land on, for example, your Instagram account, that they have even looked at your bio. They may not have done that. They may just strictly be scrolling through their feed. They see your content. They're trying to decide if they're going to like it or not. So if it is a reel, for example, you're going to have to tell them that that link is actually available. Now, remember, your content is helping to sell you. It's helping to share your authority. It's helping to make sure that people understand you know your stuff because you're posting on a regular basis. You're posting content. So when they do pop over to your actual page, now they can see even more content that you've posted. So now they see all the things you know about dog training and housebreaking and so forth. So this is the type of thing that will make them say, maybe I should go ahead and grab that guide. I'm planning to get a new puppy. I want to be prepared and ready to go. Let me go ahead and click on this. When they click on it, it's taking them directly to that landing page, which allows them, as I mentioned, to put in their information so they can get a copy of your guide. Okay, makes sense? So I definitely want to make sure that you all are aware of that. And the thing about doing that is, remember, if you have a guide that is free, your call to action, and if you don't know what I mean by that, go back to last week where we talked about if you have a product, something that you're giving away in the form of a lead magnet, and you have created a product, make sure your lead magnet begins to introduce people to that product. So what the flow, if you will, is your content to that landing page. That landing page, of course, gives them your lead magnet. And one of the final pages in your lead magnet or somewhere throughout, you're making reference to a paid product. So now, if these folks have liked what you've been sharing on your social media platform and they like what's in your guide, they may very well say, you know what, let me go ahead and pick up this paid product. All right. So I want to make sure you all know that that is a great way to do it. Now, the second thing is your link in bio could very well be your digital product. So if you've created a digital product, go ahead and link it. But here's what I want you to link it to. If you have a sales page, which you should, or a checkout page, shorter form of a sales page, if you will, that is what you're going to link in there. So that way, as you are sharing valuable information online and you say, hey, if you want to grab your copy of this, I have a link in my bio. Go ahead, click that and grab your copy. So you're actually sending them right to a page that can make you money. So I definitely want you to understand that you can do that. Now, Remember that most people are going to need about 7 exposures to your paid product before they're actually going to purchase. So, your content that you are creating for these various platforms is going to have to make reference to that paid product, if you will, that's linked multiple times. You can't just assume that I'll put this link up for, 3 or 4 days and people are going to buy it. The only time I would suggest you do that is if you are running something for a limited time and you say for the next 3 days, I'm offering X, whatever it happens to be. So that's another thing that you could actually put into your link in bio. And you just have to make sure that your content that you have on there is making reference to that. And what I would focus on, and this is something to be aware of, the content that you're sharing, you want to focus on the real benefits of having that paid product, not necessarily its features, not that you've included 3 bonuses or anything like that. You have to tell people what this is going to allow them to do to make it attractive to them so they'll want to get it. Okay. So just want to make sure that you understand how that is going to work for you. So if you have any questions as we are going through this, drop those in. If you need me to clarify anything that I'm sharing, drop that information in as well. All right. Now, the next thing that you can do, number 3, so remember, number 1 was sending them directly to your lead magnet landing page. The second thing is going to be a paid digital product. And let me share one last thing about that paid digital product before I go on to number 3. It probably needs to be priced at no-brainer pricing. What is no-brainer pricing? Typically anything under $100, meaning that people don't have to, think for 2 weeks on whether or not they're willing to purchase this. So those $7 products, those $17 products, $27 products, $37 products, even $97 products. Those are the types of things that are pretty easy to sell by having them in your link in bio. Because again, people don't have to think too hard about it. They don't have to move money around in their budget in most cases to take care of that. All right. So what that is going to allow you to do is to earn some income pretty close to right away for those individuals who click on the link and actually purchase. All right. And then one final thing, I'm sorry, while I'm on this digital product piece, don't wait until you think you have an audience of a specific size to start selling. What I usually suggest you do is just have an audience that's at least engaging with you, meaning that they are asking you questions, they're commenting, they're liking, they're sharing. And how are you going to get to that point? It's creating content and posting it on a regular basis. But you don't have to have, 200 followers or 100 followers or 1,000 followers or subscribers before you can start selling digital products. All right. Okay. Number 3 is an affiliate link. So if you are an affiliate for a specific product that you really believe in, okay, and I emphasize that because a lot of times people will just want to pop something into a link and start promoting it. They don't use it, they don't know anything about it, they've never used it themselves. You can't do that. You're going to have to be able to explain to people what it is that that particular product does. So let's say, for example, you are doing some type of a tutorial, and that tutorial could just be you demonstrating the specific product, whatever it happens to be. And then you can say, hey, if you want to grab this, you can click on the link. I have it included in my bio, and you can get your own copy of it, or you can, start using the service or whatever it is. Now, I will also tell you that if you have something like an Amazon store, this is also a great place to promote your Amazon store. Now, what I'm sharing with you here when we talk affiliate products and that is it could be pretty much any affiliate product that you're using. The reason why I mentioned the affiliate store or the Amazon storefront is because once people are on your storefront, remember your storefront has the ability to have multiple products included in there. So if you're demonstrating a specific product and you say it's included in my Amazon store, and that's what you do, maybe that's your way of generating income. Now you don't really even have to change that link out. You can just tell people where to find it in your store, tell them the link is in your bio, and now when they click on that, not only do they have the opportunity to purchase whatever it is you were demonstrating, they can purchase any of the other products that you have listed in your store as well. All right. Okay. Number four is going to be, for example, a membership or a community page. So if you have your own membership or community, something on school or any of the other platforms that are out there, you can do the same thing with the link in bio. Put the link right in your bio to your school page, the one that's going to allow them to learn about the page and then be able to request to join, whether that is a free community or if it is a paid community. But again, your content that you are including in your various posts on your preferred platform, it needs to, demonstrate your authority, demonstrate that you know what you're talking about. It needs to have that clear call to action that says, hey, you can find all of this and more in my community. Click the link in my bio and you can actually join the community. So you have to I guess the way I'm going to explain this to you, and this is going to be true of pretty much anything where you're going to be encouraging people to buy a product from you that you yourself have created, or for example, like a community. One of my mentors also always says that influence is going to come before income. Meaning, you have to show that you know what you're doing. You have to show that you know what you're talking about before anyone is going to ever buy from you. That's why I keep saying in the content that you're creating, you have to share the tips, you have to share the strategies, you have to share your knowledge, you have to share your mastery of that topic, whatever it happens to be. And that alone is going to come through if you truly believe in it. So now when you say, hey, join my community, people are like, okay, well, I've been watching her stuff for 3 months or 6 months, and she seems like she knows what she's talking about, or he seems like he knows what he's talking about. Let me check this out. And so now when they get over and they can read more on your about page that's within there, and remember on a school, I'm specifically talking school, on a school community, it's going to then have a link that says join. So it's almost acting as if it were a checkout page. Okay, that maybe that's the best way to describe it, because people can actually ask to join, or if it's a paid community, they can pay to join that community. All right. So that is another way for you to do it. Now, here's what happens once they are in your community, other products that you may have available are now things that they can actually purchase. So I'm helping you understand how sometimes the income is not going to come right away. And what I'm sharing is if you have a free community, but you have paid products within that community, it may be one of those paid products that people purchase at a later time after they've gotten into the community, after they've learned the lay of the land, so to speak, after they've seen, what it has to offer. That may be what's going to happen. The same thing is going to apply if we were to go back to, for example, if you just have a guide or something along those lines, where it's free information and people are learning, the type of stuff that you offer. They may not first purchase your paid product as soon as they read the guide. They might have to go through it a couple times. They might have to go back to some of your content. So just understand that some of this stuff is you just simply laying the foundation for things that are going to generate income for you later on. The same thing with your Amazon affiliate link or any affiliate link. People may need to check it out a few times before they're going to click the link to actually purchase. All right. So if this is making sense to you, let me know in the comments. I'm going to just drink some water here. And then also, I don't know if you all let me know what type of link you currently have in your bio. And there's no judgment here, just because we all have to start somewhere and learn how to really make that link work for us. All right. Okay. So I'll wait to hear from you in terms of other things. Now, I'm going to share one more thing with you that I think is going to be helpful to you because some of you may not have even thought about this, but I do want to share. There's two ways that you can do it. So, number five, let's see. So, just to recap again, the first one was your lead magnet landing page. The second thing is your digital product sales and or checkout page. And I'm saying sales or checkout page because depending on the digital product that you have, you may have one or the other. If it's a course that's more expensive, then you probably have a sales page, something that's longer. If it's just a, low ticket item, then you probably just simply have a checkout page. Affiliate links, number 4 was the membership. And then number 5 is going to be an on-demand masterclass, meaning that they can actually, okay, Josie says that she needs to update her LinkedIn. Yeah, most of us do because a lot of times we, as I mentioned, we put it up there when we first create that bio, and then we don't update it later on. But in that time, chances are really good that you have probably added on either a lead magnet or maybe there are some products that you would refer. Maybe there is a product that you've created and you want to send people to. I'm going to give you one more thing that I didn't even think of. So let's see here. All right. Denise says, I always struggled with link in bio. How many links in the bio? It depends upon the platform you're on, and there is it'll come to me in a second, and it might be links in bio, but there is a place where you can have one link up there, and when people click on it, it opens up a bunch of other links, if you will. Now, with that, and you can do that, but with that, you're going to have to be very specific when you're promoting things to make sure people know what to click on. I kind of like having a single link so that people don't get confused because if you got a bunch of links, people could get confused by that and start clicking the wrong thing and then end up getting distracted from what it is you actually wanted them to click on. So definitely go back. But yeah, some things like I believe with Facebook, I think they allow you to have multiple links, but it's typically, I think, to other platforms, if you will. So, just kind of look at that and find the most effective place that you want to direct your traffic to. And remember, you're going to be making reference to that over and over again. So, you probably want to choose something that you're going to be sending people to on the regular. And then if you want to change it at some point down the road, if you decide that's not converting or that's an older version of whatever it is, you can always change it at that point as well. All right. So let me give you number 5, and then, continue to drop your comments in, and I will come back to that later. But as I mentioned, an on-demand masterclass or training that you're having. Now, the thing about this is an on-demand class is typically going to be something that's pre-recorded. And again, this is probably going to be more so like, it's going to be more like a lead magnet. So you're probably going to send them to a page. And I actually, without pulling it up, I'd have to pull it up, but I actually have one on my System.io account with an on-demand webinar masterclass, if you will. And so what happens is when people go to that page and they decide they want to watch it, that they click on it, then what's going to happen is it's going to pop up times, and the first time available is going to be 15 minutes from whenever they first click on it. So that's probably a really cool feature that I like about the System.io account. And you can do that with other platforms as well. But the thing about that, again, is if somebody's watching your free masterclass, then what I want you to do is to make sure you are promoting some type of paid product at the end. Now, the second way that you can do this is maybe you have a paid masterclass. Maybe you're going to teach something on a specific day, and you're going to charge the participants, let's say $37 to attend, and you have a link that's going to appear. So let's say that you are going to teach this class. Today is the 22nd. Maybe you're going to teach this class on April 30th. And so you start promoting it now. And what you're going to be doing is you're going to be sending people to a page where they're going to learn about this class you're going to be teaching. They're going to be able to register and pay for it. And then what you're going to then do is keep in touch with them via the email that they have submitted and giving them, give them the details about the specific masterclass, how to access it, when it's going to happen. You're going to give them reminders. Hey, the class is tomorrow. Just wanted to let you know that. And then you're going to send a few reminders out on that day. You might even want to include a workbook that you create, something simple. You can create it in Google Docs, for example. And then they can download that and follow along in your masterclass. What that does is it just increases the perceived value. So again, how are you going to do that? You're going to have some promotional items that are going to appear in the content that you're posting on a regular basis. You're going to say, oh, by the way, depending on when you're watching this, I am hosting a live masterclass and it's going to be on this topic. It's going to take place on this day. You can go ahead and grab your seat for the masterclass in the link that's included in my bio. So now people know that when they go in, and you can even tell them, I would tell them if it was a paid course that you're going to, or a paid masterclass, just tell them for $37, you're going to get this, 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 and this, and you're getting the replay. Always include the replay. Okay. Not always, but most people are going to include the replay to that. So now when they click on it, they're going to go through, they're going to check out. You now have them on your email list. You're going to be communicating with them and so on. All right. Now, what do you do with that replay? Is it just done and finished? No, you're going to sell that as another digital product. You're going to sell the replay because the content is going to be just as valuable in the replay. The only thing they're probably going to be missing is in the masterclass if you allow them to ask questions during a question and answer section of the masterclass, which is typically going to be at the end. The only thing that the people on the replay are not getting is the ability to specifically ask a question because they didn't attend live. All right. And for those of you that have been racking your brain trying to figure out, what could you create for a digital product? That is one thing I would encourage you to do. Because if you know your stuff, and I know you all do, then you can create a 45-minute masterclass. You absolutely can. And then, as I mentioned, the last 15 minutes of that can simply be a question and answer where you're going through, you're clarifying things. People may have, missed a section of it and they need you to give them a better explanation. You can absolutely do that. And how do you do this? How do you host it? Just do it on an unlisted, you can do it on an unlisted channel, or not channel, but an unlisted video for YouTube. So the only people that would know that are going to be the people that have the link that you sent out. Now, could some people actually share it with others? Sure, they could. But you know what? You've got to think in terms of abundance. So you can't be worried about that kind of stuff because you can't control what other people are going to do. Most people are going to operate with integrity and they're not going to share it. So you don't really have to worry about it. I'm sharing with you that you can do it on an unlisted YouTube channel because sometimes when I share this, people get all worked up over the tech. Where am I going to do this? How am I going to do this? Make it simple. Just do it on an unlisted video on YouTube and problem solve. How do you give them the replay? The same thing, the same link for that unlisted video is what you're going to send to people when they purchase it, when they're purchasing the replay. And to let you know this, some of you might be wondering, Do people really purchase the replay? Absolutely. Because again, the information is still just as valuable. And some folks are going to purchase your masterclass knowing that they can't attend live because it conflicts with their work schedule or, whatever their schedule happens to be, but they want the information. All right. Okay, so let me go ahead and answer this question. So Josie says, maybe I'm confused. Are you talking about hyperlinks in a YouTube description? No, let me show you what I am referring to. I'm going to go over to my channel. Okay, let's see here. I think I can, let me share my screen here for just a second. Okay. All right, so Josie, this is what I'm referring to here. You see this link in pretty much every platform that you're on, there's going to be a link. I'm not referring to the links in my video descriptions. I'm talking about the link that if someone goes to your profile, they're actually going to see. So that's what I'm making reference to when I talk about the link. Does that clear things up for you? Let me know whether or not that actually answers your question. Let's see here. Okay, let me go back to my notes. All right, and actually on that page that I was just on, if they click on that, currently that's going to go to a lead magnet, but in next week that's going to change. It's going to still say the same thing, but it's going to go to a recorded masterclass on creating a digital product where I'm actually speaking because I updated some of the content that was in the original lead magnet and I want to include that in the masterclass, and then that masterclass is going to lead into a paid product. All right. So Josie, make sure to let me know if that answers, because if not, I want to make sure that I clear that up for you. All right. So I do want to make sure that you all know that those are things that are going to actually help you because, again, they're either going to grow your email list or they're going to grow your income. So that's another thing. Now, one other thing I want to share with you that you can pop in, I actually have quite a few other things, but I'm not going to go through all of these. I'll pop those into the community page. And for those of you that are interested in going in more detail, of course, I have my community. The link is going to be in the description of this video. So you can click on that to actually join the community. Now, in the community, and I always like to tell people this, that, there are 2 master classes that you're going to get access to immediately. You have a resource library. And also, if you want to go deeper, there are some additional levels that you can upgrade your membership to. But there's quite a bit in the free level as well. So let me just throw one thing out for you that I think would also be beneficial. Let's say, for example, you do one-on-one sessions with people. Well, you could include a link for people to actually go directly to a checkout page, and they could in turn book their one-on-one with you. So maybe you do 30-minute sessions or 60-minute sections, or maybe or perhaps you do a 60-minute session with a full work book or something where you walk them through a process. That could be something you could actually offer. Another thing that you could throw in there would be like a challenge. So if in fact you are hosting a challenge, a 5-day challenge, a 7-day challenge, whatever it is, you could link that as well. So there are lots of ways that you can do this. And remember, typically with your challenges, they're going to result in some people being directed to a paid product afterwards. With the one-on-one, you're typically working people or walking them through something that maybe they're struggling with, or you're helping them work something out. Another thing you could put in there would be, for example, maybe you do audits. So you might be the type of individual that loves doing audits of YouTube channels or Instagram accounts or Facebook accounts where people are trying to grow their audience. You could actually sell that through your link in bio, if you will. Just remember, again, whatever content you're creating has to make reference to that. Because if there's just a link sitting up there and people don't know what it's for or can't figure it out, or your content is not directing them to that, it's probably not going to get clicked because, again, most people don't go directly to your page. They usually are just looking at your content as they're scrolling through things. All right. Okay, so I just want to make sure. Let's see. Yes, that does. All right, you're very welcome. So I wanted to make sure that we went through these specific things because that link in bio, that is prime real estate, digital real estate. And you don't want to miss opportunities by just, having some remote information in there or something that really doesn't direct people to things. As I mentioned, one of the mistakes that I had was initially on my actual website, I was just sending people to the home page. And then I've realized I was sitting on a training call similar to this, that is not an effective place to send people. You have to send people someplace that's going to allow them to take action. That is a better use of that digital real estate than just a homepage where people go, maybe they get lost, maybe they don't know what they're supposed to do next. There's a whole bunch of things that they can click on. It's just not as effective as sending them to a single place. All right. Okay. So let me just make sure. I've kind of talked through this, but I just want to make sure that whatever your strategy is, because we all are in different phases, if you will, match the link to whatever your current phase is. So if you are in the phase of building your email list, then that's where you're probably going to be sending them to a landing page so that they can download your lead magnet or masterclass or whatever it happens to be. If you're in the phase of actually generating income by selling a product, then you're going to be sending them to a checkout page or a sales page. All right. And if you are in fact promoting an affiliate product or multiple affiliate products that might be in, let's say, your Amazon store, then you're going to be sending them to the affiliate link. All right. So you have to kind of change your strategy up to match the or use the link to match the strategy or phase that you're currently in. And understand that this will change because there might be times where you're really focused in on growing your email list. And so putting your landing page out there is your strategy. But maybe you just created and launched a new product, digital product. Well, then of course you're going to change out your link in bio to send them directly to that checkout page or the sales page. So just know that that's important. Now, me personally, I don't necessarily use this is just me. You can do whatever works for you. I wouldn't necessarily use the link in bio for an affiliate product. Now, if your strategy is strictly affiliate marketing, then that makes sense to do that. What I would do is instead, I would just have specific videos that are set up. And then in the video description, I would have links to affiliate products. That's how I would do it. I would reserve that link in bio for either lead magnets or specifically for digital products. Okay. So just want to make sure that I share that with you. Now, the other thing that I want you to do, let me give you this. This is kind of like your action plan, if you will. So the first thing is choose whatever the primary goal is. All right, that's going to be your step one. Step two is figure out which link you're sending them to and send them to a link that's not going to be confusing. Meaning, if you're sending them to, you want them to buy a product and you have, let's say, a stand store with 15 products. Well, you don't want to send them to the main page that's going to show them all 15 products because that's going to be confusing. Send them directly to the product you want them to actually purchase. All right. The next thing is make sure you update your bio across all platforms. So if you have a Facebook account, an Instagram account, a LinkedIn account, a Threads account, and so on, make sure that that link is available on all of those. The link in bio is all going to the same place. Now, I'm still going to go back to the fact that I'm a big proponent of you building on a single platform. I just think it's too difficult to try to build an audience on multiple platforms when you do not have a team that can help you create content. Once you have a team in place or a social media person that handles it, then by all means add on additional platforms. All right. Now, step 4 is, and this is important, you have to mention your link consistently, because you can't assume that since somebody watched last week's video, they're going to know that this new link that you just updated is now available. You have to tell people that. And you also can't assume that when people are on whatever video it is that you're watching, that they watch the entire thing. So if you only mention it, let's say at the end of the video, then maybe they mention the link, then maybe they missed it because they only watched 3/4 of it or a quarter of it. So you're going to have to mention it several times. And then the other thing is, with most platforms, or you'll have to have a way to do this. You want to really kind of track how whatever link you're sending them to is actually performing. And so you want to do that because you want to know whether or not people are first and foremost clicking on it. If they're not even clicking on it, then maybe that means that you haven't mentioned it enough, or you haven't mentioned it in multiple places. If they are clicking on it, but they're not taking action, then you've got to look at it and determine whether or not whatever the page is that you're sending them to, is it really set up to convert? Meaning, get people to take the next action, either entering their email address or actually purchase. So you definitely want to be able to do this. Now, with, for example, your Amazon storefront, if that's what your link is, you're going to be able to look at your analytics and see what's going on there. With most of these platforms, you're going to be able to track where the traffic is actually coming from, and that's how you're going to know whether or not it's actually working. So just kind of keep that in mind as well. So just to recap those different things to do. Step 1, choose a primary goal, email list building, actually purchasing, or affiliate marketing. The second thing is choose a single link that you're going to be using to direct your traffic to. The third thing is to update your bios across all platforms. And then number 4 is to mention your links consistently. And then step number five is going to be to track your clicks. All right. So for those of you that are on, what is your primary focus right now? Are you focused on building your email list, or are you more focused on selling a digital product? Just kind of let me know in the comments. And then also, start thinking so that you can start thinking about what it is you're going to be directing people to. Think about, what link you're going to be sending them to. But I would love to know where, in fact, what you're focused on. Okay. All right. So let's just see if I've missed anything. All right. I think I pretty much have everything on and that I wanted to discuss today, because as I said, it is important that you take the time to make sure that your links are working for you. And remember, I'm a big proponent of the links that you are using, the content that you are creating, acting as kind of like your digital employee base, if you will. So they're working when you're sleeping. They're working when you're playing. All these links are working 24/7, 365 days a year. That's really what we want, because if the only way that you can earn income is by actively being involved, that's just going to be difficult to do. You want content that's working for you when you are not working. All right. Okay. So Denise says, I want to sell my digital product and my canning course. So what I would do is go back into your YouTube channel and make sure that that link is what appears in your link in bio. And also for you, for videos that are specifically related to your digital product, make sure you reference it in the video description. and you have to mention it. You have to tell people that it is out there. And you'll be surprised at the number of people that will click on those links, and some are going to purchase. Remember, some it's going to take multiple exposures before they actually purchase. So, either one of those are going to work for you. All right. Okay, so any other questions before we get ready to wrap up for today? I just wanted to make sure that we are putting together things that are going to work when we're not working, because that's what it's all about. I'm a big believer that, we don't operate with the hustle concept, or the bro marketing, as I like to call it, where, they have that philosophy of you're always on, you're always, creating content, you're always walking around with your camera. I'm not willing to do that, and maybe some of that is, age related. I've done the long corporate hours and all of the crazy stuff. Now I prefer to use systems and to teach you how to use systems that are going to work for you so you don't have to work 24/7. I want you to be able to have time to yourself. I want you to be able to spend time with the people that are most important to you, family, friends, older parents, grandchildren, whatever that happens to be and look like for you. And I also want you to build a business that is going to allow you to generate income when you need a break, because there are going to be times where you're going on vacation and you don't want to have your income stop simply because you were on vacation. I want you to be able to rest when you're tired. I want you to be able to get better when you're sick and still have your content working for you, because this is what it's all about, is creating the systems that are going to allow us to do that. And once you have them in place, you'll be surprised at how things are working. That's when you're going to wake up to commission notices that somebody bought something while you were asleep. That's when you're going to wake up to, ching ching, you actually made a sale, the noise that comes through from like Stripe or Square or whatever you have it set to. I want you to be able to wake up to that thinking, wow, I made money while I was sleeping, or I made money while I was resting, or while I was on vacation. That's what it's all about. All right. Okay. So I think I have covered everything that I needed to. Do you have any questions before we wrap up for today? And I definitely appreciate those of you who were on with me live being here. And hopefully you got something out of this, and you now have a little bit of work to go back and make sure that your links are actually going where you want them to go and doing for you what you ultimately want them to do. All right. Okay, so with that being said, I'm going to go ahead. We're going to wrap up for today. And again, if you are interested in joining my community, the Digital Business Roadmap, the link is in fact in the video description below. We'd love to have you over there. Lots of great things that are planned. We've got a lead magnet challenge that's going to happen next month, meaning May. And then in June, we have a digital product creation challenge that's going to happen. So by the time we're done, you will have a lead magnet ready to go, and you'll have a digital product. And then your goal is going to be promote both of those to grow your audience as well as to grow your income. All right. So thank you all for being here. You all have an awesome day and an even better week. And I will see you next week, Wednesday, 12 p.m. Eastern, where I'll be right here in this chair. All right. Have a great day. Bye.